Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. The entire police department in Vincent, Alabama has dissolved. It's a small city. The force was made up of 3 people, but they all had to go after some racist text messages surfaced. The text shows an officer asking, "What do you call a pregnant slave?" It goes on to read, "BOGO, buy one, get one free." City leaders didn't find the joke funny. Tonight we don't, and we talk about it.
The arrogance of it, Sadia, as an attorney, your thoughts about this?
So, this is not uncommon in law enforcement departments. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, has even reported that white supremacist organizations have infiltrated. And we know this from the inception of the police departments, which were known originally as slave patrols, and they were sanctioned by the states in order to catch a slave. And so when the end of slavery, then you had the black codes. So now you had the police departments. So you have this institutional systemic racism in the police department that we're just seeing that's just continuously presenting itself. So we're in 2022, and the whole purpose behind the police department was to catch a slave. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
And Greg, what about you? Your thoughts on them sending this text message from the chief to the assistant chief?
It's a shame. It's a disgrace. It's another bad mark on law enforcement. But one of the questions I had was, after this one text, they eliminated the entire police department. And it makes me wonder, is this, which I don't believe that this was actually the first incident. I believe this was the straw that broke the camel's back, that you had a history of these guys all participating in this type of behavior in the department, and the people, and my hat's off to them, in administration, they got fed up and they just said enough is enough. We're not only going to get rid of you guys, we're going to get rid of the department as a whole.
Now, for those, let's put it in perspective for the viewer out there. Vincent is a small city, about 2,000 people. The police department, 3 individuals, 2 were fired, 1 resigned after the department was dissolved. Do you think they will be able to maintain law and order in that city, Sadia?
Oh, well, I don't know, because all they did was shift the power now, the policing power, to the sheriff's department. Mm-hmm. And so now they disband, the municipal police department. So now the sheriff's department is going to be the one in charge of patrolling the African Americans in that town. So do I have faith that black people would get justice in Vincent, Alabama? Absolutely not, because this is systemic. This is institutional.
And Greg, let's hear from you. The sheriff's department said that they would step in, and they agreed with the mayor's decision to disband the police department because of the racist text. Do you think they will make a difference? Do you think the black people who live in that community will see justice, will be safer, won't face any ridicule because of the color of their skin from law enforcement?
I can't say because I don't know the history of the sheriff's department. The police department's actions came to light, but I do think the sheriff's department is in a better position to patrol that area, because you're losing a department that only had 3 people. Not only did they only had 3 officers on that department, they were top heavy with police executives. 2 to 3 people were a chief and assistant chief. So you have 1 guy probably patrolling the streets. And I know the sheriff's department will easily be able to handle something like that.
And Sadia, we have to question whether we can, any law enforcement agency that comes in, now we have to question, well, can we trust them?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we see a pattern in the United States of white supremacist organizations that have infiltrated the police department or law enforcement agencies. And so, I'm not encouraged. We're talking about 3 people. It saved the city money not to pay their salaries now. And however they're going to contract with the county, we don't know. But that racism in that city, in that state, is prevalent. So will the black man, black woman get justice? I'm not encouraged.
And Greg, long term, do you think the security and the law enforcement patrols provided by the sheriff's department will maintain long term? Or should they bring in private security?
Private security is also always a possibility, but then again, bringing in private security, you don't know what you're getting. The private security company could be hiring officers just like this who just lost their jobs.
Right,
So
right.
I believe long term, a sheriff's department, as I said, is well capable of handling that, but without knowing the history of that sheriff's department in relationship to the Black community there, I can't comment on whether or not Black people will get justice. I can tell you this much. I would give them at least an opportunity to be fair and do their jobs, because I don't want to paint any law enforcement agency with a broad brush, just like I don't want anybody painting our race with a broad brush, because it's good and bad and all. But I would at least give them the opportunity. That's without knowing their history.
And would it help, and either one of you can answer this, if you had a law enforcement department that was more reflective of the community?
Absolutely, it would. Absolutely, it would. If at least one of those law enforcement officers was an African American, maybe, but we don't know. Again, we don't know what the makeup of the sheriff department is, and probably it's top heavy white.
Well, and Greg?
Well, Isaiah, it's interesting you asked that question, because I was just looking at a study that said that 72% of the white law enforcement officers in this country believe incidents like this are isolated incident. They don't think there is any type of widespread discrimination against Black people. But what I found, that was no surprise to me that stat was that high. But what was more surprising to me was the fact that when they polled Black officers, just a little under half agreed with the white officers. And that, to me, that seemed like that was an extremely high number. Now, I can tell you from my experience and working in 2 different departments, the number of officers that would sympathize or would not have a problem with this type of action was they were in a very small minority, just as it is in any profession, to be perfectly honest. But the overwhelming majority of officers, Black officers that I worked with, they would be outraged by something like this as well.